Farlost, created by John Miro. 11. The walls of the CNC thundered with hit after hit as the onslaught of rocks and dust continued. Lou's mind raced and panic threatened to climb out of the hole she kept it in whenever shit hit the fan. She clenched and released her fists, working on her breathing to just bring her heart rate down before she sent a ripple of panic through the few surviving officers manning the command and control module. Unfucking believable, she told herself. As their course intersected with the radiation storm HHL-6 had been built to withstand, long enough to fly out of, an uncharted swarm of micrometeorites and dust had hammered the craft, damaging its reactor and shutting down propulsion. Ed Dwyer, her commander and friend, was dead. First and second officers had been sent to each of the radiation-proofed storm cellars in case just such an emergency occurred to ensure leadership survived. CNC had lost all communication with each of the special tanks where the crew waited, and the chain of command now made the lives of everyone aboard her responsibility. She felt her breath shudder as she sucked in air and squeezed and released her fists again. "You don't get to have a panic attack, Security Chief Montaigne," she told herself. "Time to play the hero." Flashing warning screens hammered at Lou's thoughts. Mercifully, Villanueva hadn't re-engaged the audible alarms, and everyone in command and control was working very hard to keep their panic to themselves. "Communications is still out with the cellars," Villanueva reported, his face grim. She nodded in acknowledgement, grateful for his calm, controlled demeanor. He soldiered on, saying nothing about the seemingly sure death the radiation storm now surrounding them would bring if they couldn't get HHL-6 moving again, and quick. She appreciated his courage, doing his duty all the same. It reminded her what she had to be now. She was also glad the comms to the cellars were still down. What would she have told the people trapped in those water-shielded tanks anyways? That more radiation than they ever expected was coming to kill them? Unless she could find a way to move HHL-6. Without the reactors powering the main drive, how was she going to move a crippled spaceship? Get out and push? A blue security alert popped up on her screen. Dr. Beecham was attempting to log into more of the CNC's systems from the screen beside his chair. She turned to the hunched-over Native American man, observed his too young face reflected by his workstation screen, as he tapped out lines of code in a diagnostic window he had somehow accessed. "Beecham, what are you doing?" Lou asked. There was no response. She was about to ask him again when the blue lines of text winked off her screen. She tapped to the screen and stared at a command-level authentication code. She blinked and stared back at the man who had defeated Hascom's in-house corporate security in seconds flat. Yeah, maybe he was worth the money they paid him. "We need to move the ship," he muttered finally. "We're losing the emergency propellant jets," Third Officer Villanueva shouted. "They're exterior to what little protective plating Six's tanks have, so they're getting blasted by smaller rocks that haven't made their way inside yet." "Anything you can do about that, Doc?" Lou called out. One sarcastic grunt from the Native American asshole genius was all she rated. His fingers kept moving on the screen. Lou flipped through emergency readouts looking for something, anything. Her heart sank with every line she scanned, but her trademark stubborn refusal to accept the worst had been fully engaged. She would find a way. "Call for help," VP Burkhoff barked at her. "Sure, that'll work," Beecham said, without looking up. "At full burn, nobody'd be here for a week tops, Alexei." The blue light appeared on Lou's screen again, just long enough for her to notice it in her peripheral vision. She dug through traffic from his terminal to see what he was doing. It was a security lockout. He was disabling them almost as fast as they rose up to block his access requests. She didn't know what he was after, but she was impressed by the speed with which he was mowing through the systems. She mirrored his terminal and watched as Beecham accessed the control system for one of the prototype arrays he'd had installed around the ship. Codename Light Show. Lou remembered the reason Beecham was on the bridge right now, the fuss he had kicked up about personally locking down those prototype emitters. "You think your science project can help us? Beecham? Beecham!" He held his hand palm out towards her, the universal symbol to shut up. Trying to save our lives here, he muttered, swiping and tapping madly. Burkov reached a hand out for Beecham's shoulder. You can fix this, Stuart. Beecham didn't waste time even grunting a response, just kept his head down and working. Lou watched her display, still slaved to his, as a new window opened. Another computer animation exploded to full screen. She saw the red flare of his fingertips mirrored on her screen and looked over to see Beecham flipping the image around, tracing the power lines that connected the field emitters that Hascom had paid to spread evenly across the surface area of 6. The image pulled back, and she saw the ghostly outline of the pipeline of cables that was the spaceship's electrical system. The top half of the ship was awash with red lines, showing minimal power reaching past the engines and reactors at the base of the ship. The reactor systems themselves, though, were still glowing green. The readout's wrong, Beecham said, his voice rising hopefully. More tapping, more swiping, and the reactor expanded on their mirrored screens. Even Lou could tell that automated ship systems had restored the power reactor to near full functionality. Reactors are fine. Shit, yes, they're fine. The screen image blurred again, and Lou could see the error diagnostics where power mains and backups had both been severed by impacts, effectively cutting power off from the majority of 6. Beecham slammed the screen with a closed fist. Too bad we can't get to any of the power they're generating. Alexei turned to Villanueva. You heard? What are you doing to get the power back? Beecham answered first. What do you want to do, Alexei? Order someone out to patch up conduits? The ship is being shredded. A spacesuit wouldn't last long enough to do the job. If we can't get the power back, Lou asked, afraid the man wouldn't have an answer, then what do we do? Beecham's head twisted, searched around. Stan, Beecham called. Stanislaw! What? The youth shrieked. Lou scanned the circular room and saw Rennick at one of the workstations farthest from Beecham. He was strapped down and had a death grip on his harness. He'd gone white as a sheet. We're firing up a light show. Yes, cackled Burkov. Oh, Beecham, I could kiss you. Why? What good will that do 10 minutes from now? Rennick wailed. There's not enough power to sustain a sphere without the reactors. Beecham shook his head. I squirreled away some power. Don't worry about that. Besides, we just need to maintain it long enough to cycle up a displacement field and plot a course before we're Swiss cheesed. Cycle up a... Lou started laughing. Wait, you want to take us FTL? Your solution to death by tiny rocks is to kill us faster? Farlost. Music by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com. Learn more at servingworlds.com.